Quick question. Which of these is the most correct fire? I'm gonna give you a few seconds. Hi, today's video is about VFX Lore. Back in the early 90s, Dr. VSA Faustus Xavier was the first to discover that you can make shit look cool as f. Today's video is about the lore behind your VFX. Every game has its own world behind it, filled with rich characters and untold stories. Our VFX can, and to some extent even should, draw inspiration from this world. And in doing so, our VFX can reinforce and communicate the lore behind the world to the player. To get started, let's build our own little world. In our world, everyone is a mage to some degree, and mages have the ability to cast spells. Spells can be of certain elements. For the sake of simplicity, we define 3 elements. We have a neutral one called mana, which can be cast by normal mages. We have another one called light, which can be used by divine mages, which are basically the demigods of this world. And lastly, we have the blood element, which has been considered taboo and is frowned upon by society. This is used by mages who oppose the divine's judgments. To differentiate these elements from one another, we can start by defining color palettes for each of them. Mana will have a generally blue palette, light has a pale yellow palette, and blood will have a red palette. By defining these colors, the player will be able to tell immediately what kind of mage the spellcaster is without explicitly telling them. Now we can think about the weapons or the mediums that the mages cast the spells with, because these can define how your spells look. And we'll go with the staff, which is as common as mage weapons go. But how is this staff used? Does it draw power from the surroundings and channels that into spells? Or does it draw power channeled from within the caster and releases that into a spell? If our staff draws power from the surroundings, our mana spell might look something like this. Notice how most particles go into the staff as if it was being charged by external forces. If it draws power from within the caster, on the other hand, our mana spell might look something like this instead, with the direction going more outwards as if radiating the amount of energy being drawn from the caster. And these two, while functionally doing the same thing, tell such different stories. As mages use spells, they gain more knowledge and experience, which can also affect how their spells look. Let's take a look at our previous spell again as an example. If a novice were to use this spell, the VFX might look a little less grand. We can do so by limiting the amount of particles throughout the spell, showing that the caster does not have full control yet of their powers. An expert, on the other hand, might have more going on in the VFX as they're able to channel more energy into their spell. We can show more particles and components as they charge it up, showing that the caster has mastered channeling their power and is essentially overloading the weapon. But also consider that spells in themselves have their own power level. Take our simple projectile, for example, and compare it to, say, a more powerful attack like a beam. You might notice that the beam has more particles and brighter colors, and of course is way larger, indicating a more intense power level. We can even do the same power scaling to the projectile if spells can level up in our world. If we were to power our projectile up, we can add the same intense colors we saw from the beam, and perhaps even more particles around. It might even be so powerful that it distorts the area around it. From these differences, we can communicate to the player how strong a caster and the spell is. So far, we've only concerned ourselves with the mages and their spells. If we were to take anything from my previous VFX essay, we can also think about how the environment can affect how our VFX looks. Let's say our different mage groups have their own settlements. The normal mages live in a regular town with their normal lives. The divine mages live in a more utopian city with sculpted buildings. And the blood mages have established homes in the underground. We can leave our normal mages be for now and focus on the last 2 mage groups as they have strong shape language, with square shapes for the divine mages and triangles or spikes for the blood mages. Our VFX for light spells can have more square shapes to reinforce the idea of their upbringing. Our blood spells, on the other hand, will have more sharp shapes to reinforce the connection between their mage type and their home. This all, of course, is just one made-up world out of a million out there in games. So this is only a few of the billion ways you can tie lore into your VFX. If you're making VFX for a game, try to understand more about the world your game is set in. You can ask the help of designers, artists, writers, and even the composers to get a feel for the world and align your VFX towards that. But Rolla, what if you're making a portfolio piece or something for practice that doesn't have or need an established world? Then that's perfect, because you now have the freedom to create your own world for that VFX. Forming your own small world with lore and setting these rules can even help unlock the potential of what you can do for your standalone VFX, no matter how shallow the lore may be. It's similar to how game jams in events like Inktober declare themes, which to an extent are a limitation to whatever you're making, and creativity thrives in an environment of limitations. With all that done, I think it's time we revisit our starting question. Which of these is the most correct fire? Well, you tell me. That's it for the video. I hope this helped you out one way or another. Disclaimer, of course, that these are all still just suggestions, and it is up to you how to connect your VFX to your lore. If I missed anything or you have comments or suggestions, please let me know down below. I just want to give a special thank you to all my patrons for the support. You're all absolutely amazing. And a thank you to you as well, of course, for watching the video. Take care, and I hope you have a good one.